Hello and welcome to this answer explanation video. This video will talk you through the answers for the simplifying fractions worksheet and will hopefully help you through some of the tricky bits. This question says, Paul is simplifying fractions but he has spilled paint over his work. And we've got 6 fractions that have been simplified and the paint splats are on the numerators and denominators, sometimes on the fractions that Paul started with and sometimes on the fractions where Paul has simplified it to its simplest form. So we're going to go through them one at a time and we'll see what the missing numerators and denominators could be. So for A, we've got 18/36 and this has been simplified to this fraction here. Now presumably Paul's going to have found the fraction in its simplest form. So to simplify we need to find a number that we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by, and when the only number that you can divide them by is 1, then you've found the fraction in its simplest form. So here we have 18/36 and we're going to simplify this fraction down because the simplified fraction has the paint splats over both the numerator and the denominator. So a number that we could divide both 18 and 36 by, we could say it's 2. Both of these numbers, the numerator and denominator, are both even, so we could divide by 2. So 18 divided by 2 will be 9, 36 divided by 2 will be 18. We can go further than that though. That is not the fraction in its simplest form because we can divide both these numbers by 9. So 9 divided by 9 is 1, 18 divided by 9 is 2. So now we have a half and that is the simplest form. The only number we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by here would be 1, so a half is its simplest form. Now we did that in 2 steps. Looking at the question, Paul did that in 1 step. So 18/36, we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by 18. 18 divided by 18 is 1, 36 divided by 18 is 2. So where we did it in 2 steps, Paul did it in 1 by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 18. For B, we have the numerator missing in both the original fraction and the simplified fraction. So if we look at the information we have got, we've got it's something 24ths becomes something 6, is simplified to something 6. If you look at the denominator that we've been given in both, 24 in the original fraction and 6 in the simplified fraction, we can work out, think about times table knowledge, what the denominator was divided by. So 24 must have been divided by 4 to become 6. So we could just work out the original fraction using the inverse going backwards. So if we look at the simplified fraction, we could just say that it simplifies to 1/6. So if 24 is divided by 4 to make 6, if the denominator has been divided by 4, the numerator must also have been divided by 4. So if we can do the inverse and multiply by 4, from 1 multiplied by 4 becomes 4, and that way we've found an original fraction. It could have been 4/24, simplifies to become 1/6. And we can't simplify it any further, so 1/6 is that fraction in its simplest form. So for C, we have the denominator missing in the original fraction and the numerator is missing in the simplified fraction. 12 somethings becomes something fourths or quarters. If we look at the fraction in its simplest form then, the numerator is missing. Now the numerator can only be 1 or 3. It can only be 1/4 or 3/4. It can't be 2/4 because otherwise that could be simplified to become a half, because if it was 2/4 you could divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So we know it's either going to be 1/4 or 3/4. We could put 1 in and just say that it simplifies to 1/4, and that way the original fraction would be divided by 12. 12 divided by 12 would be 1. But we did 1/6 for B, so let's go for 3/4 because, and we also know that 12 can be divided to make 3. So 12 could be divided by 4 to make 3. Now that would have also happened then for the denominator. So this number here also has to be divided by 4 to make 4. So to work out what the missing denominator is, we can do the inverse and we can multiply this by 4 to work out what it was. And it would have been 16. 4 multiplied by 4 is 16. So 12/16 can be simplified to become 3/4. So D is very similar to C in that we've got the denominator missing in the original fraction and the numerator missing in the simplified fraction. So 30 somethings is simplified to something fifths. So again we can have the numerator here as 1, 2, 3 or 4. We have to make sure that we can divide the numerator here by something to make the numerator in the simplified fraction. So we could just go for 1, but we have done that with b for 1 6. Let's go for something different. Let's go for 2. And I know that we can divide 30 by 15 to make 2. 30 divided by 15 is 2. That would also mean that the denominator was divided by 15 to become 5. So we can work out what the missing denominator is by doing the inverse and multiplying 5 by 15, and then that will give us the missing denominator here. 5 multiplied by 15 is 75. So 30 75ths simplifies to become 2/5, and we can't simplify that fraction any further. For e, we're given the simplified fraction, the function in its simplest form, which is 1/3, and we have a free choice here, really. Whatever this fraction here is, it's simplified to become 1/3. So both of the numerator and the denominator were divided by the same number to become 1/3. So we can just pick a number to multiply the numerator and the denominator by to do the inverse, and that will give us what the fraction originally was. So let's just say we're going to multiply it by 5. So 1 multiplied by 5 is 5. 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. So 5/15ths. We can now divide them by the same number, by 5, and that will mean that 5/15ths simplifies to 1/3. For f, we have a very similar question to e here, in that we have the missing the numerator and denominator in the original fraction, but it simplifies to 3/7. So again, whenever the numerator and the denominator are divided by, they become 3/7, so we can do the inverse to work out what they might have been, and we can multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same number, and that will give us an original fraction. So this time let's multiply them by 4. So 3 multiplied by 4 becomes 12, 7 multiplied by 4 becomes 28. So now we have 12/28, which can be simplified to become 3/7, in this case by dividing the original numerator and denominator by 4. That was a video for the answers to the Simplifying Fractions worksheet from Classroom Secrets. If you want to watch a video tutorial linked to this skill, you can go to kids.classroomsecrets.co.uk, and for other resources linked to this skill, you can go to classroomsecrets.co.uk.